Hello everybody, JG Crafter here, and today I just finished the Purge, currently at the time of recording this, and Purge Season 6, the final season, and I'm ready to give my thoughts. I'll be honest, when I started watching this, I was a little nervous and really unsure because after season 5, I wasn't sure if I was ready for more Purge, and I really thought, could this even be a full-out great finale to a series which started phenomenal, went kind of overside, not too sure if I liked it or not, and then to the end? Would it be able to successfully achieve winning me over as saying it's a pretty good series, like one of my favorites? Well, today I'm here to give you guys that opinion. And I will also admit, I started watching the series when it first was uploaded normally with a couple of episodes, but then as time went on, I ended up stopping and didn't continue till like the last 3 episodes came out. Those are when I started to fully get back into the series. The only downside was that at the time of watching that, I was, today, when I'm recording this, I was in a really bad mood. School day had gone fine, but everything else was going super frustratingly. I had a bunch of allergies from the spring coming up, and my eyes were itching like crazy. Even now they're itching, and it's really painful. And I was just really, really upset, so I was hoping the Purge might go out on a good note, but I wasn't too sure, just judging by the titles of each episode. And yeah, one thing I want to say before I fully go into the review, spoiler warning, I'm going to count down from 5. If you're still here after those 5 seconds, and you haven't watched the Purge yet, I'd recommend watching it beforehand, because I don't want you to for me to give away all of the details, since I am going to go into details throughout the video. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's spoiler time. The Purge Season 6, turns out the Christmas special was actually the start to Season 6. And when I put it into that perspective, it wasn't that bad of an episode. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. It was still kind of hard to watch because, again, it was a very frustrating episode. But I eventually just accepted it and kept moving on to future episodes. And they just showed the group in prison, Gizzy's crew in prison. They ended up breaking out. They got out, they go to this place. I thought at first it said Camp Cannibal, but turns out I was wrong. It wasn't that at all, so I listened. But yeah, it was a pretty interesting thing. They went to the camp. The person who was running the camp accepted them, and they learned that they were in Canada, not Russia. And yeah, so then they learned there was no Purge in Canada, so I kind of was like, how are they going to do this? How are they going to continue the story? They eventually, yada, 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 kind of just went through some things at camp, rough times, and it did also eventually reunite with Jordan for like 2 seconds before he ran off, which, even though that kind of felt nice, seeing Jordan again, but I wasn't too sure. Although, he did kind of feel like a jerk in this season. It just felt like he had changed a lot, but like in just 2 months since they were in the prison, I really thought he wouldn't have changed that much, since I'd never known a person who changes in like 2 months. But I guess that's life, apparently. But he kind of was a jerk in this season until the very end, where he helped everyone get out. In all honesty, I don't really want to judge the story too much, since the story, as usual, was creative in its own right. It was still pretty good. It's just the acting I really need to complain about. A majority of the voice actors for this were pretty garbage. Now, don't get me wrong, they're the main cast and stuff are still really good at what they do. They're still really good, but so much of the dialogue for so many characters was so one-dimensional. Like, this one time when the brother of the sister character who got killed in the last season, rather than being like, you killed my sister, it was just like, you killed my sister. I'm gonna kill you now. There was no emotion. I couldn't feel any. Just some of the deliveries were so bland. Like, even from the Riker character in it. Fun fact, Riker is voiced by the same voice actress who plays Sarah from my roleplays. As much as I admire, if Lex is listening to this, I admire your work in trying the role. I thought you did decently good, but some of the deliveries were really one-spotted. Like, not only was Riker, but many of the other characters in the series were so poorly delivered, and that was one of the biggest problems I probably had with this final Purge season. It was such a hard distraction, but I tried my best to push past as best I could, and I just kept on moving. So, yeah, I ended up getting through the series, and eventually I did come to it. The final episode, literally basically titled, Gizzy Dies. At first I thought he was gonna die one of those pathetic, mediocre deaths, like, you seem like the main... It was also a good metaphor with referring to the fact that sometimes people die not epically. But he did end up doing a 180 and saying, nope, you're alive, you're gonna die later on, which he does die later on. And does he die epically? Depends on the perspective. Like, for me, because Gizzy's character was still kind of a 50-50 understanding, I didn't entirely understand his new mindset. He still kind of felt like the same Gizzy for the whole past of the series. He still felt like the same person, pretty much. The fact that Gizzy and everyone else kept pushing that he was suddenly a different character didn't entirely make sense to me. It just felt like I didn't get it. He still seemed like the exact same character. Sure, he was a little scoldier, but he was about the same. But I guess with first-person perspective roleplays where you have to improv on the spot, or at least when you're writing it, you have to try your best to get the best delivery you can. It's not always easy. But it's kind of funny. Even though a lot of the stuff was kind of bland, there is one character that stood out to me. And honestly, I was just really glad he was a character. He made me laugh, he made me smile, he brought excitement to the voice, and honestly I really like him as a character. It was Skyler, the furry guy from the previous seasons. Honestly, almost every line he had in this season, it made me laugh. Like, every single line of dialogue he had that was meant to be funny, it made me laugh. Even like in the last episode, he made some pretty good jokes, and even though I was really tired and sad at that time, that really did make me laugh. It really brought a smile to my face. It was so much fun to see. And at first, when I said Gizzy was gonna die, that's when I was deciding, nope, this series, it's gonna end like school, where I was really disappointed with Gizzy's death, and it was just not very good. Which, if you guys want to see a roleplay review on school, from GizzyGazza, I can do that too, but I don't know if I will or not. It was kind of a hit and miss series for me. I wasn't sure if I liked it that much. But Gizzy's death in that, I didn't feel was very earned in a way. It kind of just felt out of nowhere, but in this, he did sacrifice himself to, save his loved ones. Which, as much as I understood he'd do that in other roleplays as well, this one, it actually meant something, because these characters were not only understandable, but they were also some really good characters that were in the series for a long time. They weren't just kicked off early on and were brought back several times for reasons unknown. And a villain had a redemption arc, I'll give you that. A not very understandable redemption arc because of the, as I mentioned before, kind of lacking voice acting. It was okay. I enjoyed it. Gizzy's death, I thought I would really be unsatisfied with it. I thought, oh wow, great, another Gizzy death, and in the best series too. Why does he always kill himself off in all the series, never just letting it end on him having a happy ending? But this death, it nearly did actually make me cry. I really think at the end he deserved Like, not like he deserved it like it was bad, but like, he deserved to go on a high note, and he went on a decently good high note. I was proud of him as a character. He did a really good job, and I was satisfied with that. I thought his death worked out perfectly. It didn't go off like oh wow, he had to die this way, because it actually did feel like if he didn't die, everything would have been bad. And it did make me feel better that he didn't try to screw that up. Yeah. I don't really know anything else about what's going to happen. I don't know how things are going to go with Gizzy from now on with his future series, but I'd like to say one more thing before I reach my final conclusion. He did the kind of ridiculous thing, well, two ridiculous things that I really wasn't a fan of. One, another Donald Trump joke with Donald Dump or something. It's really irritated me having to sit through that. It was so irritating. I literally tried to skim through as fast as I could with only catching the little bits of dialogue, because I just couldn't take the irritation of it. Like, I'm not a Trump hater or supporter. I am just someone who doesn't think political stuff should be put in what I want to enjoy, which was really frustrating. And also, the out-of-nowhere characters that they say have existed since the beginning, but were never, ever, ever brought up in the past, which I'm not really a fan of, because just if you want to create characters, you gotta bring them up. If you want, you gotta think ahead. You can't just throw a new character in there and say that. You gotta throw something in to make them feel like they shouldn't have been mentioned. Like, sure, Gizzy said that in the story that Tink didn't like her sister, so she never brought it up to anyone. But for 2 years, you really think Tink would have mentioned it about her sister called Tonk? I still think that's a funny name. You really think you shouldn't bring that in out of nowhere? It didn't make sense. Just those two things in particular, the Donald Trump joke and the out of nowhere character, were two parts I just couldn't stand. I hated those parts, and I really wish they never went those routes. But they did, and I accepted it. But as the season as a total, as the final season of Purge, it was not as bad as I was expecting. I thought since they kind of made things kind of wacky in the last season, things would be really messed up and crazy this time, but it was actually pretty satisfying. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I just think it was satisfying. It was a not perfect ending, but it was an okay ending. There were a few jokes in there that made me laugh. A couple things were really fun to watch. Redemption arcs were made, stories were done, and I can honestly say that I'm happy. I'm satisfied with this finale to The Purge. Not the most perfect series out there, at least not anymore, but I think it went out on a really good note. Gizzy, you made a good series. I think you did great. It was really good. I liked it. It was good. And I'm looking forward to whatever you create in the future. Thank you for providing me with entertainment all this time, and everyone else. It was really fun to stick around for The Purge. It was nice to see it get more content. And I guess I'll say it's a pretty solid 8 out of 10. Pretty good. With a few flaws, it was still pretty good. But if you guys are just fans and wanted to hear my whole idea of it, thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and let me know what roleplays you want me to interview next, watch next, because I do listen to the comments. I'm still slowly trying to get to this one series one person mentioned for me to check out, which has been very difficult because I don't have as much time as I used to. But I do still read the comments, take out recommendations, and check them out. And yeah, thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in future videos if you decide to watch them. Peace.